bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
It started right at the beginning.
Like when Millie's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him.
Wow.
We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time,
she'd send it. No, she'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert. By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what. These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably get it.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
declassify
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so. Look, here and I have. And you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
it's incredible, right?
No,
hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Karen Friedman Agnifilo from Legal AF, and what you just heard was an exclusive audio recording that CNN got its hands on. That is the audio recording that is referenced in Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment. This was a meeting that took place in July of 2021 at Bedminster when Donald Trump, a staffer, and ghostwriters for Mark Meadows' book met, and we read the transcript. We had seen in Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment everything that we just heard written, but hearing it just, in my opinion, makes it sound so much worse. And also, before getting your view on this, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, I want to play from the Bret Baier interview with Donald Trump, how Donald Trump responded when Bret Baier confronted him with, at that time, we didn't have the audio recordings, but just the transcript that was included in Special Counsel Jack Smith's complaint. Play the clip.
I don't want to dwell on it, but according to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a planned attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president, the Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. This is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this, on tape.
It says just the opposite.
Karen, your response.
So this recording, I think, is a stunning piece of evidence, and it shows how significant I think it is for Jack Smith's case. And yeah, we did have a transcript and we did read the transcript, but really what's missing from the transcript is a sense of what was going on. And when you listen to it, first of all, you hear pages flipping, right? And you people get quiet. He says, let's see here. And then people start giggling as if they know what's going on, as if they see something really important. And he says, isn't it amazing? It's highly confidential, secret information. That's a term of art. And the people are responding and, like I said, giggling and sort of acknowledging in a way that they clearly see something, saying, isn't that incredible? It's clearly something that they're looking at that is not magazine or newspaper clippings, right? And then somebody in the room says Hillary would print that out all the time. What's the that? They all knew what they were referring to. They all knew what they were looking at, because why? Highly confidential, secret, top secret information is stamped in red letters with a classification marking. It's very clear when something is classified and something is not. And so when you're showing it to someone, it's like you're showing them, like diamonds or something. I mean, it is pretty intense, right? You're talking to the former president of the United States who's talking about super secret military information, and people are in awe of what he is showing them. So I think that's what really comes through from this tape, right? And he talking about how Hillary, would print that out, and he said, yeah, they'd send it to Anthony Weiner. I thought it was really ironic. He said the pervert, right? As if pushing someone into a dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman and, groping her isn't being a pervert, or the other two women who testified at that trial of him groping them on the plane. So, okay, pervert. But anyway, so, but it was, he's like, see, these are the papers. They were done by the military. I could have declassified them. That's him acknowledging that they are classified, right? Everyone knew what everyone was talking about. Again, not magazine or newspaper articles. He just says, I could have declassified them as president. I could declassify them. Now we have a problem because I can't do that anymore. And I'm showing these to you. Isn't this interesting? Isn't it incredible? So, this really, I think, hammers home the fact that he's clearly someone who has no respect for classified or top secret or national security information. We knew it because he kept all these documents in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago or on the stage that had access, that thousands of, hundreds of thousands of people had access, and people were coming in and out. But so it wasn't just that he was storing them in a way that was reckless and that could potentially impact national security. But here we can hear him sharing it with people who he cannot share it with. So, I think his statement on Bret Baier is truthfully, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, and he's lying.
So we know that the recordings were taken not from any surreptitious or secret source, right? It was his own aide, Margot Martin, who was doing the recording. Through Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigatory work, he found out about the meeting. He found out who was in the meeting. He found out that the meeting was being recorded. He found out who was recording it, and he got his hands on this audio recording right now. I think, to your point, it kind of lays out all the elements of the crime, right? I mean, you got Donald Trump saying these are top super secret documents. Isn't this cool? I mean, how horrific is it? That's how he's talking about, like, war plans and really sensitive documents. He goes, I could have declassified it, but I did not declassify it. And again, now we have a problem. So based on your history of being a prosecutor for almost 30 years and leading the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, you were the number 2 there to Cy Vance before going into private practice. As a prosecutor, are you spelling out the elements of the crime right here? Okay, check intent. We've got mental state. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, so don't forget he's charged with several charges, but he's really the most significant one. The first top charge is he's charged with, I think, 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information, and under the Espionage Act. Now, that charge does not require the document to be classified, right? If we remember, it just needs to be national defense information. And we don't think that they recovered this particular document, or that we have identified this particular document. And if they have, I don't think it was charged in the indictment. So really, why is this significant then if it's not one of the charges, if it's not the stuff, the documents that they recovered at Mar-a-Lago during the search warrant? And it's because, as you said, it shows his intent, his lack of mistake, right? He didn't make a mistake. He didn't not know. He didn't sort of just take things and declassify them with his mind. And then therefore, I could take these papers, they're mine, and do whatever I want with them. This is a frankly, prosecutors gold, because it shows his mindset and his intent. And his intent is to show off and willy-nilly, handle our classified information and our nation's most sacred secrets that could put lives at risk by carelessly sharing it with people for whatever reason he does it. It really just goes to his intent and his mindset that this wasn't an accident, this wasn't a mistake, this wasn't oops, everybody does it, we just packed up quickly, like Joe Biden had some, and Mike Pence had some, and nobody realized. And so it goes to really what his intent was, and what he did, and he willfully retained the national security information. So I think as a prosecutor, this is really significant. One other thing I would say is I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Smith has the cooperation of one of the people who was in the room. There were many people in the room who could describe what the paper looked like and describe that it was a document that had, red markings or whatever. So, that they would have tried to interview and certainly subpoenaed and potentially even immunized the people who were in that room and had them testify before the grand jury and describe what it looked like. So because it was featured so prominently in this indictment, I would suspect that Jack Smith has that also information, not just the tapes.
We know in a recent filing by Special Counsel Jack Smith that he turned over as part of discovery quite early all of the non-classified documents that may be relevant to the prosecution and may be relevant to the defense. In fact, Special Counsel Jack Smith said they went above and beyond even what their discovery obligations were, turned over everything to Trump, and even in certain circumstances, like summarized the key portions of videos and summarized the key portions, gave the full videos and recordings to Trump's lawyers, but just said, in any event, here's what we intend to use. Do you think that this leak has anything to do with the recent production of these records? Is it too hard to speculate where this is coming from? I don't want you just to randomly speculate, but someone has an agenda here to get this out. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So I think any statement of where these came from would be speculation, but there are a few possibilities. As you said, they just turned over documents in discovery, but don't forget they're under a protective order. And so they're not supposed to be shared publicly. And Trump isn't supposed to see these see anything that was turned over unless he's in the presence of his lawyers. So I think if a lawyer, even his lawyers, I don't think would risk violating a court order by releasing this publicly. So I don't think that occurred, but again, who knows? But that would be a direct violation of a court order. So, and I also don't think it's in Trump's interest, right, to exclusively leak this to CNN. Why would he do that, right?
Yeah.
So I would think this came, and certainly Jack Smith and his team are playing this by the book. So the prosecutor is also not going to do something like that. But I wonder whether there were other people in the room, right? The Jack Smith got this tape from somewhere, and there were other people in the room, right? It wasn't just Margot Martin, who recorded this book and the other interviews in the room. I think there was also prior reporting that there was another Trump staffer, Liz Harrington, who was a spokeswoman. Who knows? But there could be others in the room. We just don't know, and so it could be one of them who leaked it. But I think it's too difficult to speculate as to exactly where this came from.
I'll give you my closing thoughts on this, and then I'd love to hear your closing thoughts. I'll leave you with this, which is what we have on an audio recording. And these were random people. Like Donald Trump didn't know these people who were ghost writing this book for Mark Meadows. I think it was the first time Donald Trump met them. And so his first thought when he meets these strangers, basically, who are ghostwriting a book for Mark Meadows, is to take these documents, these classified records, where he travels with these boxes like his traveling trophies, which don't belong to him. And his very first thing to do with these strangers is to show them and brag and say, isn't this really cool? Doesn't this make me look cool? Doesn't this wins my case? Aren't I the winner? You know, to just brag about it and brag that he has these things and show them off. And so you think about, if this is what's on a recording, what that sounds to me is someone who does this like every single day when it's not on recording and just talks to everybody about these, you know, about these classified records that he stole and all of these, you know, and all of these things. Karen, I want to get your final thought. How big is this?
I think it's very big. I think this case, if we can get it to trial, is a very discreet, open and shut case, frankly. And if they can get past the Confidential Information Procedures Act, CIPA, quickly, I think we can get this case to trial. But, you know, I think it's just important to remember that we only have seen the indictment. We've seen the tip of the iceberg. There will be many, many, many witnesses that we haven't heard from who are going to provide color and who are going to testify under oath and who are going to explain exactly what Trump did and did not do and what he had not and did not have. And Jack Smith is going to play a split screen of what Trump says on the Brett Baier news clip, or when he talked to Caitlin Collins at the CNN town hall, all his different statements that he makes and how those contradict what's on this tape, and it's going to contradict what the witnesses say. So we just got to get this case to trial as soon as possible.
Well, great having you here. Karen Friedman, Agnifilo, great to have you as a co-host on Legal AF. Everybody make sure you subscribe to the Legal AF podcast wherever podcasts are available. Just search Legal AF. Our next episode Wednesday, and then Saturdays we do them live. Karen Friedman, Agnifilo, myself, Michael Popak, delivering the legal news every single week. And so appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Shout out to the Meidas Mighty.
Lock him up. Indictment season is upon us. Celebrate with the new Indictment season t-shirt and v-neck exclusively at store.MeidasTouch.com.